Have you ever looked at a really successful project, something that just works perfectly and wondered how they did it? It almost feels like a little bit of magic. Well, what if I told you that behind almost every one of those projects, there's a surprisingly simple, very human plan at its core? Let's pull back that curtain.
To understand it, let's start with something familiar. Imagine this. You decide to cook dinner for 5 of your friends. You're excited. You want to make it a really nice evening for everyone.
So, you go with your signature dish. You know the one. That rich, savory steak recipe you've spent ages perfecting. It's your absolute favorite, and you can't wait to share it.
And you really pour your heart into it, right? You get the best ingredients, you follow every single step to the letter. You basically spend all afternoon making sure everything is just perfect. You're creating something you're genuinely proud of.
Okay, so the table's set, the house smells amazing, your friends start to arrive, and that's when it hits you. In all of that planning and all that hard work, you forgot to ask one really, really simple question.
And there it is. Your perfect steak is completely wrong for one of your guests. All that effort, all that care, and it just doesn't meet the need of someone you wanted to share it with.
This kind of thing happens all the time. And not just with dinner parties, but with huge, expensive projects. We build these incredible, brilliant things that solve the wrong problem. So the real question is, why? Why does this happen so often?
This quote from Roger Pressman just nails it. The issue usually isn't a lack of talent or a lack of effort. It's a fundamental misunderstanding right at the very beginning. You can build something amazing, but if it doesn't actually help anyone, then what was the point?
And this brings us to something called requirements engineering. Now, I know, it sounds a little academic, a little complicated, but don't let the name fool you. All it really is the art of understanding exactly what you need to make before you start making it. It's how you avoid the steak for a vegan problem. And here's the best part. It's not some crazy technical process. It really just boils down to a simple 3-part plan that anyone, and I mean anyone, can use. So let's walk through it. The very first step, the most important one, is just to ask questions. Before you even think about what you're going to make, you have to understand who you're making it for. It's all about understanding everyone's appetites. So first, you figure out who all your guests are. In the project world, we call them stakeholders. These are your users, your customers, maybe even other people on your team. Then you just talk to them. You ask about their needs, what they like, and, really importantly, their allergies. The things the project absolutely can't do. And what if one person wants one thing and another wants the complete opposite? Well, that's step 3, negotiation. You figure out a compromise that works for everybody before you start building.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not about what you want to build, it's about what they need. True understanding really does begin with listening.
Okay, so you've listened, you've asked your questions, you've got a really good idea of what's needed. The next step is to write it all down. This creates a clear plan, a single recipe for the whole kitchen to follow.
First, you write down the menu. This is the simple, easy-to-understand version for your guests. Think of it as the user requirements. Then you write the detailed recipe, every single ingredient, every measurement, every instruction. That's for the other cooks in the kitchen. We call those the system requirements. And when you put those two together, you get one clear document, the specification that makes sure everyone is on the exact same page.
It's that clarity. That's the magic ingredient that turns a vague idea into something real that everyone can work on together.
All right, on to the third and final step. This is the one people often skip, but it's so important. Before you fire up the oven and spend hours cooking, you do one last check. Think of it as a final taste test before you've even made anything.
You take that beautiful, clear recipe you wrote and you show it to your guests, to your stakeholders. You just ask, hey, does this look right to you? Is this what you were hoping for? Did I miss anything? This step is called validation. And it's your absolute best chance to catch a simple misunderstanding while it's still just words on a page, not a finished thing that's going to be a huge headache to fix later.
It's so true, isn't it? A tiny bit of effort now can save you from a massive problem down the road. Okay, this all makes sense for a big project, right? But what about for you in your day-to-day work? How can you actually start using this idea right now?
Well, it's actually super simple. The very next time you're working on something, could be anything, a report, a bit of code, even just an important email, try this. First, just pause for a second and write down who this is really for. And second, if you can, just find one of those people and ask them this one question.
What would make this truly helpful for you?
Because that's really the secret to all of this. It's not about complicated flowcharts or strict rules. It's just about remembering that we're all just people making things for other people. And so often, the very best things we build, they start with nothing more than a simple conversation.